These are the 8BitDo 02 in micro. Chances are you already know about these controllers. They're not new to the market. They've had their success because they're super small, they're super cute, and they get the job done. 8BitDo have found a new use for these controllers. Probably one of the most requested I've seen over time as a controller reviewer, and it is the ability to play portrait mode. Most telescopic controllers will cover the length of your device. So it's gonna play like this, right? And you're gonna have your controllers off to the side. But the thing that gets requested the most is to have a portrait solution. Now, there are some things that are coming out on the market. One that I have not reviewed, I was sent a unit many months before for trial testing. The Game Baby from Bitmo Lab. It is a product that, in my opinion, is nicer on paper than it is in execution. And that's why I think 8BitDo, while not necessarily being the fanciest option, is, to what I've seen so far, the most reliable one there is. And in this video today, I'm gonna show you what it's all about. First off, and let's be quick about this, we'll just unbox both controllers. And you have your instructions, a small cable, a linear. It has a micro USB up top for charging. And you have your D-pad, membrane, D-pad face buttons. And you have L1, L and R, which are fairly tactile. And this is the 02. Straightforward, very simple, easy to use, not complicated at all. You can use that for a Nintendo Switch, a PC, a phone. You have your different modes right here. Out of the two, personally, that's what I use in my production. That's the one I like best. All the same, you have a linear, a controller, and a small little cable, as well as a manual inside the box. The big game changer here is this little clip. This is what will make a world of difference. You'll notice on the box, you have two different shapes. And that is because this kit works for both the 02 or the micro. I have used this successfully on the Razor Edge, and this is as wide. And even on the Razor Edge, while it fits, it's a little uncomfortable because it kind of stretches a little bit. And this is as big as it's gonna go. So that's not gonna work for folding phones. This is not gonna work for your Y700. These types of devices. It will really work for your phones. You know, we're talking like regular candy bar phone. And here is the micro, and here is the 0. So the idea here is very simple. You will go ahead and pinch this portion like so, and then you will pinch that on your phone like so, and then you go and sit the controller like this, and all of a sudden you have a handheld. And if ever you would prefer to use the other controller, you just take it off, remove this, pinch it under, put the controller in, and voila. And here, by the way, you have your membrane D-pad as well, membrane face buttons. You have tactile shoulders, but you have L, R, and L2, R2. And this one, what I like, you have a few more buttons. You have your capture and home, so that works a little bit better with the Switch. But what I like with this one, so if you want your Switch mode, your D input, or K, which I'm not sure if it's Android HID, I think it is. And I just overall find that this one is a little more comfortable. So before doing that, I will put it in pairing to the phone itself, which is super easy, super simple to do. I powered the controller. You can see the little LED right here. So I'm just gonna hold this little button. It's flickering. It should see it as a Pro controller. Pro controller right here. Just gonna click on this. As you can see, I can now operate my phone. Here you have the light at the bottom. Okay, so I now have both of my controller paired to my phone. I'm just gonna close this one because we're not gonna use it right away. But I just wanted to do the pairing because once it's in the socket, it's a little, you know, more complicated to take it out. Let's go with Delta. Delta and RetroArch are gonna be your two best options for emulation. Rely on the leathering to know the order. Now, the thing with Delta, and this is something that can be addressed with a skin, but you'll notice here that it is covering my game. And that's the one thing that I wish was different. is I wish we had the ability to go either upside down, because the way that it's designed, if you try to flip it this way, where we could just be able to use it with half a screen, that would work just fine. The problem is now the controller is upside down. So you could remap your controls, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but you wouldn't be able to undo it and flip it to the other side. Now, the other thing that you can do with Delta, and unfortunately I don't have one ready, is you can have a skin, and that skin will let you change the positioning of the game. For example, right now we're using this skin for portrait, but because it's detecting that there's a controller, that's not the skin that we're seeing. Same thing if I put this skin, which is usually used with the game baby, and would be great because it gives us exactly the layout that we need. The problem is whenever we're gonna play the game, it's not gonna show us the skin because of the controller. So for that reason, RetroArch in my testings is the better tool to do this. So let's go ahead and power up RetroArch. RetroArch, as you'll see, you have this whole layout at the bottom, which we can just put down by hitting that little arrow, or we can just leave it in, doesn't matter. This is still a crimped method, but this is as portable as it gets. Now, if you were to try to use this landscape, it's just not gonna work. This is really designed for portrait gaming, and with that in mind, it's gonna work just fine. Now, because it's a little cramped, is that a controller I would want to use for Street Fighter? Not really, although, you know, if that's the game you want to play, by all means, you can. But I find that this is a great experience for things like RPGs, like if you want to play Golden Sun, Pokemon, these types of games. Platformers do fine as well, but whenever you need to have like a sequence of inputs, even the micro, which I find does a little bit better in that regard, is still difficult to use, it's still challenging to use. But look, you finally have a portrait solution, and I know this is something people have been wanting for a while, and it's here with the 8BitDo solution. You can also map, if you go in RetroArch, you can map your extra buttons that you're not going to need. For example, a lot of retro games will probably not be using L2 and R2. So if you wanted to have that button be acceleration, for example, you could do that, which is another thing that you can do in Delta, but I find just RetroArch to be a little more feature dense overall, which is definitely a benefit. Beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep. All right, okay, let's do a different game, and this time let's also use the other controller. Okay, so right now this is the DS emulator, so we could change the layout to see what works best for us. I just have to go in the core settings. It's gonna be a little harder to do, but technically we could do it. Now, depending on what DS game you're playing, if for example you need access to the touchscreen, that could be harder, but I could also change to a different layout. So, you know, it all comes down to going for the solution that works best for you. Ugh, smosh. Ugh. This definitely works, and there you go. I just brought Iron Man. Thank you, Iron Man. Destroy everything. Let's go. And there it is, guys. I just wanted to show you that it's a thing, it's a solution if you like to play a lot of portrait games and that you have been struggling to find a controller, because indeed it's hard. I'm not even gonna pretend. There are not a whole lot of options on the market that can do this, and it is such a simple and clever system. And don't get me wrong, there are other ways to do it. Take my word for it. This solution is one that is far more reliable than the one that I've mentioned during the video. And not trying to take jabs at other brands here. I love the fact that they're even doing it. This, you have proper inputs that can register, multiple inputs that can register simultaneously. So this will give you a better range in terms of reliability and just, your options overall, and the fidelity that you'll experience. It's so awesome that they managed to find newer purpose to their small controllers, which are beloved around the world. And here they are, a very simple solution by adding this to your Android and iPhone so that you can play your game in vertical or portrait orientation. If you have any comments, make sure to drop them in the comment box. Please consider doing a like and subscribe, and to not miss future content. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Clef, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.